This video contains spoilers for the featured film. All images used belong to their respective copyright owners and are used here for commentary and criticism purposes only. Please remember that statements made are my own opinion and you are free to disagree in the comments, but please do so respectfully.
Hey there, Alley Cats, and welcome back to Movie Monday. Today, we're going to be reviewing and discussing Toy Story 4, the brand new sequel in the classic Pixar series. As I'm sure you're all well aware of by now, I can be pretty opinionated when it comes to newer Disney and Pixar, especially since I was actually very bummed out when Toy Story 4 was announced because I thought the third movie was an excellent place to leave the series. If you'd like to skip the plot overview and get right into my thoughts on the film, you can skip to this timestamp in the video. So with that said, let's get right into it. The movie starts with a flashback to 9 years before the end of Toy Story 3 when Andy was still a kid. During a huge storm, the toys managed to successfully rescue RC Car from being swept down a storm drain, but while they're distracted, a man arrives at the house to buy Bo Peep. Woody, being all smitten with Bo, attempts to get her to come back, but she tells him that being taken away is just part of being a toy. She then tries to convince Woody to come with her instead, which he seems to really consider until Andy frantically runs outside in the rain trying to find him, so Woody decides to stay with Andy as he still needs him. Fast forward to a couple years after Andy moves off to college and gave his toys to Bonnie, everyone has settled into being her toys until Woody suddenly starts being neglected, even to the point where Bonnie takes his sheriff badge and puts it on Jessie. But being worried about how Bonnie will do during her kindergarten orientation, Woody hides in her backpack to be brought along to school with her. After witnessing a gross little prat take Bonnie's art supplies, Woody sneaks over to the trash can to bring her random items, including a spork, which she uses to craft into a new toy named Forky that later suddenly comes to life. Back in Bonnie's room, after everyone is introduced to Forky, he continuously tries to toss himself in the garbage, believing he is meant to be trash, and Woody has to babysit him to ensure Bonnie doesn't lose him, including during a road trip with Bonnie's family and all her toys. The other toys notice Woody becoming exhausted, but he refuses any help, and when Forky jumps out the window of the RV, Woody also jumps out to retrieve him. On the way to the RV park where Bonnie and her family are stopping, Woody tells Forky about his time with Andy and convinces him of the wonders of being a toy, and he's now suddenly very eager to get back to Bonnie. Once they reach the town near the RV park, they pass an antique store and Woody notices Bo's lamp in the window, so he and Forky go into the shop to look for her. They don't find Bo, but they do find a doll named Gabby Gabby and several puppets that bring back my nightmares of Slappy from Goosebumps. Gabby desperately wants to be loved by a child just like all other toys, particularly the shop owner's granddaughter, but no one will buy her because her voice box is broken, so she wants to take Woody's. He manages to escape, but Forky is left behind and gets captured by Gabby. Afterwards, near a traveling carnival, Woody reunites with Bo, who has been spending the past several years as a lost toy without an owner. She, along with her miniature cop companion Giggles McDimples, agree to help Woody rescue Forky from the antique store. Meanwhile, back at the RV, everyone is anxiously waiting for Woody and Forky to return. Buzz seeks guidance from his inner voice, being his own voice box phrases when he pushes his buttons, so he leaves to search for them but ends up stuck as a prize at a carnival game. He escapes with other toys Ducky and Bunny, and they all meet up with Woody and Bo to head back to the antique store. Bo recruits help from another toy in the store, Duke Kaboom, and they're able to make their way to the cabinet where Gabby is kept. But the puppets ambush Woody and nearly rip out his voice box, and Forky is left again as the others barely manage to make it out of the store. In the process, nearly everyone is damaged, including Bo's sheep. Woody wants to go back for Forky, saying it's the only thing he has left, but no one else wants to help, so he re-enters the store alone. Gabby approaches Woody and tells him how much she wants the chance to be owned by a child, so they make a deal for Woody to give up his voice box to her in exchange for Forky. Bonnie and her mother then enter the shop, and before jumping into Bonnie's backpack, Woody and Forky watch as the shop owner's granddaughter approaches Gabby. But she is uninterested and instead tosses her into a box in a very heartbreaking scene, so Woody comforts her and convinces her to return to Bonnie with them. Bo returns to help them get to the carousel, while Forky returns to the RV with Bonnie to inform the others of the plan to meet up and get everyone back together. Duke Kaboom helps the group across the carnival, but on the way, Gabby sees a terrified girl separated from her parents, so she leaves the group and goes to comfort the girl girl and finally finds a child who loves her. At the RV, the toys hijack the GPS and lead the family through the carnival to the carousel. Everyone finally meets up, but Woody is hesitant to return to Bonnie, so Buzz encourages him to stay with Bo. The group says their goodbyes, Woody pins his sheriff badge back onto Jessie, and a year later, he and Bo are traveling around helping lost toys find owners. Bonnie starts the first grade, and she makes another friend at school out of a plastic knife, and Porky is immediately smitten with her and offers help to guide her through her journey as a toy instead of trash. As I mentioned, I was less than thrilled when another sequel for the Toy Story series was announced. I thought the ending to the third film was a more than suitable end for the series, so even though I had no doubts this film was going to be well made, I felt certain it would tarnish the original trilogy and ruin what could have been an excellent conclusion. It was essentially closure, and by creating yet another iteration in the series, it felt like the filmmakers were taking it away. And I felt like with Toy Story 3, they couldn't possibly create a better ending than what they already had. But I have to say, this movie is outstanding. It far exceeded my expectations in an extraordinary way. It has all the humor, fun, emotions, and hidden surprises you'd expect from a Pixar film, but it wrapped everything up so nice. One of the few things I didn't like about the third movie was the lack of explanation for why Bo was no longer there, and while I was happy with the end of the film, I did wonder if it would even be possible for Woody to be attached to another kid like he was with Andy. But here they take it in a whole new direction and for the first time explore a possibility outside of being a child's toy. In the first film, when Woody got left behind at the gas station, it was this huge deal because he was a lost toy and he was on the verge of a complete meltdown. But now, after 4 movies worth of character growth, he is exploring an entirely new direction in his life and by the end has no owner, which previously was something completely unheard of. Or if a toy was unowned, that was the worst possible thing that could happen. And now Woody, who the series has always kind of centered on, if we're being honest, the others are more secondary. He's living for himself and doing what makes him happy, rather than having his world revolve around this one kid, and that's just wonderful. So I think I was definitely wrong in thinking the third film was the only way to end it, because now with the fourth movie, everyone is truly where they belong doing what they're meant to do. And it's sad to see the group split up at first, but I still kind of feel good about it. All the voice actors were excellent, so many talented people packed into one movie, and I love all of the new characters introduced here. The animation, of course, is gorgeous. I'd expect nothing less from Pixar. The textures on everything look so realistic, from the individual strands of fur on a cat, or each and every bit of fuzz on Forky's little pipe cleaner arms, to the plastic or porcelain texture on all the toys. It's simply amazing. They've really come a long way since the first Toy Story 24 years ago. Back then, the animation was revolutionary, and they've only one-upped themselves with every near-perfect iteration. But with all that in mind, I do really hope this is actually the end of the Toy Story franchise. Everyone has said this is intended to be the final film, but anything can happen, though I think there isn't a more perfect place to leave Woody and Buzz and the rest of the gang. I don't know. Maybe make the scene where Woody says goodbye to the other toys a little longer. That felt kind of quick, but it was still good. And, that's kind of all I got. Honestly, I don't even feel like I should include this section like in my other Movie Mondays because this film is already so great. If I actually try to come up with anything, I'd be really reaching. It'd have to be something extremely nitpicky, and I'd probably just be bullshitting the whole way if I'm honest. The only real issue I have is how Toy Story 3 felt like so much of a conclusion to the series. Like I mentioned, we had that closure, but then we come back again, so that sort of takes away from the third movie. There are a couple inconsistencies or issues here and there, but this is one of those movies where I don't really care because I enjoy it so much. I can definitely be very critical of films sometimes, but personal enjoyment and fun really goes a long way, not just for me, but for many people. Which is how Pixar has pretty much mastered the ability to create movies that can be enjoyed by audiences of all ages. So with that said, I'm going to give Toy Story 4 my personal rating of 8 out of 10. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and if you have any suggestions for movies I should discuss and review in the future. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe if you have not already, and until next time, I will see you guys later. Bye!